iceberg is a large floating mass of ice detached from a glacier or ice sheet and carried out to sea. Our sea is a sea of conspiracy, and our iceberg. Why am I playing a character right now? My God. Our sea is a sea of conspiracy and theory, and our iceberg is only murders in the building. The way that I thought that was going to be so cool, you guys. Ugh. Anyway, today I'll be talking about the only murders in the building theory iceberg. What does this mean? Well, I'm pretty sure this idea comes from the conspiracy theory iceberg that exists somewhere on Reddit, but the first time I came across this idea was by watching a YouTube video about the Office iceberg, which was really fun. My God, sometimes I mix languages and the weirdest words come out of my mouth. My iceberg theory contains 3 tiers, from fun facts, interesting tidbits about the show, theories that are possible or came true, to completely demented, out of our minds, and the ones I love the most. Listen, I understand that this is a completely pointless video to put out on the eve or almost eve of the finale of season 5. I don't care. Okay? I want to record it. I think this is gonna be fun, and that's it. Oh, and by the way, since I was on Reddit snooping around, I saw that because I haven't been listening to the podcast episodes about the show. I should, but I haven't. I detached a little bit from everything about everything. But apparently in one of the most recent podcast, the most recent episode of the podcast of the show, the creator, I'm pretty sure, already confirmed kind of that there will be a season 6 and Howard will be deeply involved. Now, I hope he's deeply suspected of killing whoever dies, but I feel like he's gonna be killed. If after all this time of us crazy ass people suspecting Howard, if we don't get at least one season to suspect him some more and he's killed, I don't know how I'm gonna react to that. We'll see. Anyway, moving on to tier 1. Number 1, the intro credit Easter eggs. If you are here and you don't know about the Easter eggs, I don't know what you're doing here. Every single episode of Only Murders in the Building, in the intro credit scene, has a certain amount of Easter eggs about the episode. Most of the times it's just 1, sometimes there's 2. I've never seen 3. But these Easter eggs are just referencing something in the episode or in an episode before or an episode afterwards. And they are rarely clues, kinda a little bit, but not really. And in this season 5, there is a few Easter eggs that I'm thinking, why the fuck is that there? Like, why was there 4 clone children? Why was the cocktail bottle in Charles's window? Like, there's certain things that I'm like, I'm pretty sure in episode 10 we're going to see Charles like making a cocktail with that bottle somehow. But yeah, Easter eggs are present in every single intro credit scene. There's even like layers to the intro credit scene where whenever, I think it started in season 3 or something, whenever a big name celebrity would be on the show, the Easter egg would appear around the time where the guest starring credit appears at the top of the Arconia. Like, there's layers. But anyway, number 2, Only Murders in the Building is very much satire about true crime podcasts and true crime like content in general. And I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure that at the time where the show premiered, the first season premiered, there was a huge thing about true crime. And what I remember specifically is the true crime makeup girlies. They just made a ton of true crime videos online, like while they're doing their makeup. And I think there was a big issue with that back then because it was thought of as insensitive or something like that. I didn't really care much. It was fine that they were doing their makeup. But, you know, like I would go into these episodes blind and then I would listen to the most disgusting thing. Like I will never forget the Junko case. And you know how it is, like as a woman, you kind of sometimes have a morbid curiosity of knowing how bad someone can hurt you. And after Junko, that curiosity kind of went away. It kind of went away because I don't want to know. If it's that bad, I don't want to know. And there's another, and I'm going to stop talking about this. Um, But anyway, there's like this show makes fun of everything. There are so many, like it's a very meta show. It's about true crime podcasts and it breaks fourth wall all the time. In season 1, they broke the fourth wall. I don't even know how many times. Like there's one episode where someone says a really cool line and then Oliver looks into the camera and is like, oh, that would be a good line to end the episode. And the episode ends. It's really fun that way, but because it is so meta and it makes so much fun of itself, there are so many correlates to like real life and so many jokes about real life celebrities or actors or whatever. Like I remember in season 4, the season with the Hollywood actors, where Eva Longoria just started like saying, you know, I have 100,000 side hustles. I sell vodka. And it was so goddamn funny to me because how many of these goddamn celebrity actors have liquor brands? So that's kind of the thing with Only Murders in the Building. It makes fun of itself and it makes fun of the real world in a way that feels very satisfying. It's like, I don't know how you call that, but when a really famous person or like well-known person, jokes about themselves, like deprecating jokes, self-deprecating jokes. That's what Only Murders is. And it's really fun like that. Even in this season, we can see that the billionaires are modeled after people. Like Bash is that dude that's trying to live to 150 years or something. Like it's very clear and we love it. And the character Cinda Canning was actually inspired by an actual true crime podcast host. So they took that. Number 3, starring celebrity, like guest stars on the show are literal, not just celebrities, like award-winning actors. In season 5, there's a scene in the casino where with a bunch of actresses where I'm pretty sure the awards are on the 2-digit side, like many 2 digits for all those women. I think if you just take Golden Globes and Oscars for all those ladies, it's a lot. So it's ridiculous at this point, the amount of like really famous actors and really like well-known actors, celebrity actors are in this goddamn show. And I've been saying this for a while and I'll keep saying it. This is like summer camp for them. They come to the show, they record for a few months, they have a blast, they play silly ass characters like they used to do when they were kids. Like literal summer camp for these actors. And now I'm going to read you a list of some of the celebrity, not all of them are here. Surely. I've excluded the main cast because we all know who they are. And I'm going to read you just the people who come in sometimes, in some seasons, in some episodes, because it's absolutely ridiculous. And let's start. Tina Fey, Sting, Jimmy Fallon, Paul Rudd, Meryl Streep, Cara Delevingne, Zach Galifianakis, Kumail Nanjiani, Jesse Williams, Vinnie Fieldstein, Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, Christoph Waltz, Renee Zellweger, Logan Lerman, Diane East, Keegan Michael Kay, Matthew Broderick, Amy Schumer, Ron Howard, Scott Bakula. I really did think that Scott Bakula was actually a suspect, a promising suspect, all the way back in season 4. Number 4, there is a real-life Arconia. It's the Bell North building in New York. Number 5, Nathan Lane actually learned American Sign Language to play his part with his deaf son with the actor whose name I can't remember. The actor is actually deaf. Number 6, I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. I mean, it really wasn't to me, and I'm not even from the US, but Martin Short and Steve Martin have been friends for ages, and the cutest thing, Martin Short and Meryl Streep actually fell in love in the set of Only Murders. I mean, I think that's the story. If you haven't been here for a long time, I fucking love Meryl Streep. Loretta is my favorite character. I love her to death. So I was very happy about that. And there are scenes, like in last season and in this season, where you can tell it's not the actors acting, it's like the lovers loving. That was weird. Like there's a scene in this season where they're talking about like making jokes about dating apps for old people, and that's clearly just the actors like talking to each other. That's not a bit. That's just the true real people. Like the characters went away in that scene. That's really fun to watch. And a side note to this about the actors, I think Steve Martin has said that this will be like his last project before he retires. So it's kind of like maybe they will go on for as long as he wants to go on. hopefully. Number 7, and something that I like a lot, Only Murders in the Building is one of the very few shows airing seasons every year. Like, we are in the golden age of TV and everything, but like, shows take a fuck-ass long time to produce these days. Not Only Murders. Only Murders is here every freaking year and has been doing it for 5 years, potentially a few more. And last from tier 1, and if you don't know all of this and you watch the show, last from tier 1, season 1 contains so many plot holes that all the fans noticed, and eventually the showrunners were like forced to address them in season 4. And even though they addressed them, they answered not a single one. Not one. To this day, no plot holes have been addressed ever. And we'll kick off tier 2 with that. One of the biggest plot holes in season 1 is the notes that were left at Oliver's door and at Jan's door that were written by a left-handed person. I think the only person we've seen signing stuff with their left hand is Detective Williams, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Number 2, Saz put the initial cameras on the inside the trio's apartments, and she used them to monitor the trio and to make sure they were okay, because she really thought there was another murder in the building, and there was, kind of. Didn't know. But then afterwards, when goddamn what's his name? Marshall took over the cameras because he killed Saz and stole her phone and took over everything and stalked the trio and threatened to kill them, and then was killed by psychopath past lover Jan. Anyway, I wonder if there are still stuff lingering in the Arconia from Saz's investigation, from her keeping an eye on things. And I wonder if she ever connected with someone from the underworld, from staff from the Arconia, and was, paying them or doing something for them to spy for her, to check up on the trio. Number 3, this is a problem to no one else but me. Yes, that rhymed. I'm so cool. How does Howard pay for his apartment? Because I think it's implied in this season that the apartment belonged to his mother, but that doesn't make sense to me, because then why is he the one paying for her expensive wheelchair? Why is he the one treating her like a queen or whatever in her old age? The whole time, I don't think there's ever been a mention of Howard explaining how he pays for the apartment, or saying that the apartment was from his mother or whatever. If there is and I missed it, let me know in the comments. But Howard, how do you pay for your apartment? There have been so many theories about Howard. Howard has been at the helm of crazy, and I will mention the one. Crazy ass theories of how he pays for the apartment, deals he has in the Arconia, schemes he has in the Arconia, maybe a criminal organization underground in the Arconia or something like that. He's involved in some sort of sketchy business in the city, maybe selling rare books, who knows. And in this season, when we find out there's a velvet room and there are the billionaires doing schemes in the Arconia, I was like, oh my God, finally Howard is going to be involved. And then he's not. Number 4, there are multiple clips of Selena Gomez breaking character in this show, because at times the actors are just too goddamn funny and she just starts laughing and hides her face in episodes, and they keep those scenes in, and they are actually in the show. 5, we've actually cracked this one this season, which is Charles's attraction to criminal women. He was attracted to Jan, he was attracted to Sofia this season, and whoever else, I don't even remember. But it is explained this season that it all goes back to his mother. Tier 3. Number 1, Mabel's aunt is connected to a lot of the shady shit happening in the Arconia. Mabel's aunt is kind of spoken about character only. She's been present ever since season 1, and she's been present even in the flashbacks to teenage Mabel, because she was going to the building to see her aunt, and anytime she stayed there, it was in her aunt's apartment. The apartment that she was renovating was her aunt's apartment. The apartment that she had to vacate because it was going to be sold, it was her aunt's apartment. And there's always been a lot of suspicion about who the fuck is this aunt? Where is she? Why is her apartment always vacant? Is she filthy rich? And the theories go very much like they go for anyone else. Anyone who is a little bit suspicious and mysterious and not always there, and not everything's explained about them. There's always this aura of mystery and possibility that they could be a killer or a criminal or behind shady shit. Number 2, the next murder for season 6 will be directly related to the podcast. I've seen this floating around in some conversations on Reddit, and I wanted to include it even though it's very fresh because I like it. And I've already discussed the possibility that it's the probability that's going to include Howard, and maybe Howard is the killer or the suspect or something like that. But I saw some people discussing how because it's getting ridiculous, right? The amount of people who are dying in the building, and it's not even like, connected to one another. It's like different criminal shit happening in this building, in this very criminal building. So the theory goes that for season 6, the death is going to be directly connected to the podcast. And I like specifically the idea that a fan of the podcast, because maybe at the end of the season, they go like, okay, guys, this is our final season. There's no way in hell, like the building is shutting down. Probably won't. But there's no way in hell there's going to be more murders. There's already too many murders. No more murders in the building. We're going to end the season here. And then a fan, like a super fan or something on the podcast, goes to the building and kills someone. So the trio will investigate again. I love this idea. You have no idea how much I love this idea, because that would put kind of a little bit the audience of the show in the show, because we are also fans of the show. And like, it's the joke that the Only Murders in the Building podcast is the Only Murders in the Building show in a way. So it would put the audience right at the center of the investigation. It would be so cool. So I kind of want that. I kind of want the fan to be the killer. Not that I would kill for the show. No. Number 3, the 6th Avenue slasher lives in the building. Now, the 6th Avenue slasher is mentioned, I think, only once in the whole show, maybe twice, and it is by Marv. Marv is one of the super fans from season 1, and he's the mold remover from that removes mold in the Arconia and knew about the tunnels and all that kind of stuff. And he mentions in one very dreamy episode, what if the person behind it all is the 6th Avenue slasher? The 6th Avenue slasher is a serial killer from the early 2000s who killed people who kidnapped them or took them from 6th Avenue and killed them there or something. There's literally no lore apart from that about the 6th Avenue slasher. But there are some dots that could connect, and I will touch it later on another theory. But the 6th Avenue slasher living in the building adds another layer to these murders, because what a goddamn criminal building. And what's the chance that so many criminal people would take refuge in this building? Number 4, the show has kind of been going crazy with twin theory. I mean, it was insane last season with twin theory, the amount of doubles that we saw. At one point there were 3 Olivers and 2 of them got shot. More than anything, this is just a joke, just a layered joke from the show, because the idea of like a good twin and evil twin is like the most cliche thing of a mystery. Oh, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. It was dun dun dun, my evil twin that I didn't know I have. It was, they went so completely overboard with this in season 4, because we had the trio, and then we had the actors playing the trio, and then we had the stunt doubles for the actors playing the trio, and we had the brothers, sisters, which were not twin sisters, but it was kind of made to be like twin sisters. And then we had Ben and Glen, and like since the very beginning, there's been Charles and Saz, and the amount of like copies of one thing that we've seen so far. And then in this season, there's the freaking clone child. Like, I think they're just making fun of this trope of twins being like the evil twin being behind things. But the amount of twins and doubles we see in this show is absolutely ridiculous. Now in season 5, the new trio, the trio of billionaires, clearly is mirroring the old trio. And it's just an ever-present joke in the show, an ever-present element of twin theory and the idea of doubles and two personality, or two people two personalities in the same person. I don't think they will ever stop this, and If they ever take it further than season 4, I am so here for it. So here for it. Now, my last point in tier 3, and I put it right here because I feel like this is the middle of the line. This is the moment where casual watchers will be aware, but we won't go too further down the rabbit hole. Casual watchers will be here. And the last one for tier 3 is the Moriarty theory. This is, I think, like, of the crazy theories, I feel like this is the most well known. The idea that there's like this Moriarty figure behind everything in the Arconia, like pulling the strings for everything, you know, a criminal mastermind that influences the scales of good and evil towards evil and, you know, helps in little things to make sure that all these criminals have what they need to commit their criminal crimes. I need to get back to Criminal Minds, by the way. There's a recap coming soon, actually. I think the theory kind of started becoming more popular when a creator or showrunner or whatever the fuck it was said that these, like, the plot holes with who poisoned Winnie and the notes on the door and all that fuck ass shit was a Moriarty situation. This is what the words that came out of their mouth. A Moriarty situation, and like nothing afterwards. Nothing. So I'm kind of assuming that if they are going to explore a Moriarty plotline, they can just keep adding layers. They can keep adding like however many criminals they want. And then in a final season, whenever they decide to do a final season, they can put this Moriarty figure like in the front lines and finally reveal who they are. And our baby boys and baby girl trio are going to be the Sherlock Holmes of the whole thing and figure the whole thing out. But yeah, it's basically the idea that there's this Moriarty mastermind person behind everything and not committing all the crimes, but, you know, the character Moriarty just pulls the strings of the criminal activities inside the Arconia. And there are like theories even relating to the names of people, and I will explore that because I know who I want to be Moriarty. I know who I want to be. But let's talk about it. Tier 4. Not starting with Moriarty, but starting with something that comes from the very first frame, one of the very first scenes of the show, when I think it was Charles that said the kind of building. Okay, I'm gonna look for the whole quote. Give me a second. I mean, let's face it, nobody ever discovered 19 bodies buried in the backyard of a 14-story apartment building. The idea is that the Arconia has 14 floors because we know that Charles lives on floor 14, and we know there is a penthouse above Charles, but there is no floor 13 because I think buildings don't put the number 13 because it's unlucky. So even though technically there are 15 floors, it's only 14 because there's no floor 13. So the building that he's talking about is probably the Arconia. And this is, I think, the very first thing, or one of the very first things out of Charles's mouth in the whole series. So the theory goes that there are 19 bodies buried in the courtyard of the Arconia, right underneath the goddamn fountain. When Bunny was still alive and talking to Nina about the building and repairs and what it needs and whatever, she said that the fountain was in need of a little touch up. So there's this idea, theory, whatever, that at some point they will have to repair or restore or do some work on the fountain. They will somehow dig up 19 bodies from underneath it, and that will be one of the final cases of the trio. And I mean, 19 cold cases would already be an explosive, season. But then you can add layers to this theory, because if we really, admit the possibility that the Sixth Avenue slasher lives in the building, then what if those are his victims? You know, if there's a Moriarty figure in the building, what if those are his victims? If there is some sort of organization that just draws in all of these criminals to this building, what if every single criminal who went to the building had to put a down payment? I don't know how to explain this. You know how, it's gonna be a horrible example, but There's this episode of Criminal Minds about Schmedelschmiles and the way that they are allowed into chat rooms with Schmedelschmilia is by storing Schmedelschmilig content on their computer. Like they have to have something incriminating them as well to be allowed into the chat room. What if it's one of those cases where you want to come to the murder building, you want to come to the criminal building and have the protection of the criminal people? You gotta bury your body there. By the way, if we're talking about like buried bodies, you don't know this about me. Maybe I shouldn't say it here. Whatever. I have, I write, I'm a writer a little bit, and I have a short story that's going to come out in an anthology. And apparently it was too dark to put on their normal website, like publication stuff for these publications. So they put it in a dark fiction anthology. I don't think it's that dark. I think it's very cathartic, but it involves buried people. Maybe it is dark. Anyway, I will eventually link it when it comes out, but just so you know. So the question remains, are there 19 bodies buried in the Arconia? Or will the season end by the time the trio have found 19 bodies killed in the Arconia? We're getting there. We are getting there. I mean, it starts with Sophie. Then we have Team Kono. We have Bunny, who died in season 3. We have Ben Glenroy, twice. Does it count as twice? No. We have Saz, Marshall, 6. Nikki and Lester, 8. We're getting there. We're getting to 19. Anyway, Tier 4, number 2. I love this. I didn't even know this was a theory. I was like reading stuff on Reddit, seeing if I was missing something. And I saw this and I was like, what? This was a theory? I need this to be true. And the theory goes, and I put it in Tier 4 because I didn't know about it. So I'm sure I'm assuming it's not very well known. But the theory goes that Cinda Canning hired Taubert in season 3. And I didn't read further after reading that because I kind of just want to make my mind. I just wanted to make my mind up about it. I miss Cinda Canning. Okay, I don't know where the hell that woman is. I miss her. And if they're going to bring back characters, bring her back. And honestly, bring her back with Taubert in her hand. Maybe she's been spending all this time with Taubert building a documentary about the murderous building, and they're going to come out next season being like, did you miss me? I'm here. And I have an explosive case. Maybe she picked up the investigation from Saz and is investigating all the murderous criminal activity in the building. Number 3, which I don't believe is true, but honestly would make some sense, given his amazing one-liners in this previous episode, in episode 9. The theory goes, and this was like active, I remember, around the time when he was kind of plotting revenge on Oliver, and then kind of died down because it's clear that now they are friendly-ish. But the theory goes that Teddy Dimas is behind a lot of shit in the Arconia because he's trying to enact revenge against Oliver. And listen, if this is true, he's not doing a very good job because Oliver is successful, happily married. The joke about Loretta, is your wife hot, was funny. I appreciated that. But I think it would be really fun if Teddy Dimas was like so comfortable being in the building and being like, oh, I just, now that I'm out from jail, everyone is leaving. Oh, what sorrow. And then in reality, he's just playing up the role because he's plotting revenge against Oliver. I think the most fun that we could get out of this theory is that he tries to steal Loretta away from Oliver. That would be the most fun that we could get out of this. Now, for tier 5 and the last 4 theories, I don't even know what order to put them in, so I'm just gonna do it like this, okay? Number 1, Mabel or Mabel's aunt is Moriarty. The idea for this, I think, started a while ago, and it was based on her name. Is Mabel Mora Moriarty, and it's kind of like, oh, ha ha ha. How funny it would be if Mabel was the criminal mastermind. It's not going to be Mabel. I'm going to say it right now. It's not going to be Mabel. There's no way in hell they're going to do that. They're going to ruin that character for her. I'm pretty sure Selena Gomez would enjoy it because I know her so well, personally. But I don't think they're gonna do it. It would ruin the wholesomeness of the trio characters. But Mabel's aunt would be so fun. It would be so fun. Because what if Mabel renovated the apartment just for Mabel's aunt to put some criminal there to run his business or her business from the Arconia? What if Mabel's aunt truly is the person behind all of this? What if Mabel's aunt... I don't have another what if because this is a very loose thread theory. But it's just the association with like a mysterious character, someone that we know is there and is like mentioned, but we have absolutely no information about them. Our mind just goes there. Our mind just completes the void with whatever we want. In reality, this Moriarty character could be many people, but it's not many people. I think it can only be one person. However, before we get there, theory number 2 of this crazy ass tier 5 theories, Saz is still alive. And I know this was mostly active during season 4 when the whole investigation was going around and we were still kind of hoping that she would show up and be like, haha, I caught you. I just faked my own death to find the murderers in the building. But honestly, that could still be true. And she could still have faked her death and be hiding somewhere in the Bahamas. No, in Portugal. She's right here next to me. She's hiding somewhere until she can figure out whatever the hell is happening in the Arconia. Next one I love and I hope it's true, that Marv is the 6th Avenue slasher. And when he was like talking about this serial killer, he was basically reliving his glory days as a serial killer in the 2000s in New York. And that he didn't hide the bodies inside underneath the fountain. No, he hid the bodies in the tunnels of the Arconia. Whatever like the boxes that we see lying around in the tunnels and stuff like that, those have dead bodies. Because Marv is the 6th Avenue slasher and because he was the mold inspector for the building and he walked around the tunnels, he used them to hide the bodies. And the final theory, the potentially most delusional one of all, even more delusional than Saz having faked her own death and some random side character being this big bad serial killer, we have the theory that Howard is Moriarty. I will die on this hill. I will die on it. I don't have anything to explain. I have absolutely no explanation to give to you. Howard is Moriarty. I'm so convinced that there are suspicious circumstances behind that man. Howard as a character is fun. Is fun to have around. He adds a touch of the demented to an already demented building. Having a relationship with a robot was fun for the Teddy jokes. Let's put it like that. So if he turns out to be, I wouldn't be like, it would be so believable. He's always around. He knows everyone's business. He is always involved in the trio's projects. He knows everyone in the building. People seem to really like him from the very beginning. Like they cared more about his cat than the death of Tim Kono. So if he is the Moriarty figure, the one who's been pulling the strings and managing things, and I mean, the board appointed him to be the trainer of the robot. I think that was more of a punishment for him. But if we are thinking with my demented brain, it's because he's Moriarty and he pulled these little strings to control the robot. Prove me wrong. And I'll see you next week with another episode of Only Murders in the Building, the final one this season. I don't have expectations at this point. I just want to know what happened. I will see you then.